Hey guys, and welcome back to World War II Solitaire board game channel. Finally time to do another playthrough video, and this time it's time to show you how the 20th Air Force works. I hope you guys have watched my 8th Air Force video. If you haven't, I do recommend you to watch that first, because that will give you a general idea how the air combat works and so on. If you haven't watched it, if you don't want to watch it, it's okay, because we are gonna go ahead and explain everything again, although not as detailed. So the 20th Air Force is about the strategic bombing campaign in Japan between 44 and 45 by the United States Army's Air Force, the 20th Air Force. And it's designed by Bob Fanuff, or Robert Fanuff, I'm hoping I pronounce your name correctly, released by newly created Fortress Games. So this is a folio game, and I have to say straight away, I played it, it's damn good. I do recommend you getting this one. I will post a link in the description where you can get this game. If you are in Europe, you can get it from Noble Knight. However, I do believe they're currently out of stock, so you might have to wait for a reprint of this one. But if you're in the US or Canada, you can get it from Amazon. Anyway, I am gonna go ahead and do this video in 3 parts, because playing the 8th Air Force, my memory card on my recording device almost ran out of memory. And the same with my PC, I almost couldn't upload all of the footage, so I had to split the video in 2 parts. And just to make it easy, I'm gonna do it with 3 parts for this video, because I am gonna explain this later on, but we have an early, middle and late war. So I'm gonna do the first video is gonna be the first 4 turns, which is early, and then mid-war is gonna be turn 5 to 10, and then late war 11 to 15. And hopefully I'll win before 15, but you'll never know, I might lose. I've had a bad losing streak lately on this channel. Anyway, let's start by first quickly just going through the setup, which is quite simple. So the first thing you are gonna wanna do is put your air, oil, infrastructure and housing markers, marking the 0 on each of the 6 major cities. Once you've done that, you are gonna wanna put out all of your major cities, which is Tokyo, Yokohama, Kawasaki, Nagoya, Osaka, Kobe, which is indicating that these are active targets. Line up your starting forces. Your starting forces are the B-29s with the S on them, indicating their starting forces. All of these guys start with their squadron attached. And how squadron works, basically your groups, which are these, come with attached squadrons, and you're going to use the squadrons to absorb damage. Also, when attacking minor cities, the squadrons will make it easier. The more squadrons you have attached, the easier it's going to be to hit the minor cities. But we'll get to that later on. Now, on with the setup, you are going to want to line up all of your starting Japanese forces, and those are just like your forces, the ones with the red S on them, but they do not have any attached squadrons. So no squadrons for the first Japanese units. Let's see, yep, you have your starting, your research bomb counters, and they're marked here, so just line them up, and we're gonna go through that soon, how you're gonna go ahead and put them out here on the map, just like you're gonna do with the Japanese starting forces. But before we do that, I just want to show you the left and the right side of my gaming table, because we have some stuff there which is vital to the game. And here in the background, I have my charts. So here we have for new Japanese group placements. We have for their manufacture of aircraft. Let's see if I can get it to focus. We have for minor city restoration. interception by the Japanese, we have low altitude area bombing by the US Navy, and we have our aircraft combat results chart. So this is gonna be used plenty, so make sure to have this one within reach. Okay, so here on the right side we have our calendar. Take your date counter and put it, or turn counter, and put it on turn number 1, which is September 1944. We also get a phase counter. I like using that one because otherwise you can miss a step or something like that. I think this is a great thing to help. And that you are going to put on step or turn number 4, which is going to be the first turn of the game, or the first phase of the turn. And then when you go to turn 2, you're going to start with phase number 1, but in the first turn we start with phase number 4. So that's why we will put it on number 4 as we set up the game. I've set up my bombing campaign markers here. Also my in chronological order, we have mine laying mission, kamikaze bases missions, port missions, and Operation Olympic missions. And those are going to come in that order. And I've also decided to set them up like this is for the first track, the second track, and so on. That's the number you see there. So everything is just going to be easy to set up. We have our dice. We have our bombing markers, which you might recognize from 8th Air Force. Go ahead and put those in a cup. We have some, I don't know, I've never used these. You can use them if you want to remember if you're doing high altitude precision bombing or low altitude precision bombing. I don't see the reason for that since that's very clear from the board, although I have them here just to show you that they exist. Then we have our untrained markers, which are going to be used before you have time to research training. I like using those to not forget that I've not trained my units and have to take some bad negative modifier on the combat results table. Okay, so here we have for the future. First of all, we have our incendiary bombing markers. Those are going to be used once we brought all our major cities to 75% damage or 100% damage, all of our 6 cities. And all of these are going to come into play. We have some bombers, incendiary markers, minor city target markers. And then behind those, we have our atom bomb markers. And that's going to be our atom bombs, our 393rd Squadrons, B-29s, and our mushroom cloud markers. So those are going to be used once you have researched the atom bomb. And you just want to have those available and sorted up. Let's go to the left side of the board. Alright, so on the left side of the board I have my dead piles. These are my squadrons, which I'm going to get from manufacturing and getting new groups. You can have them in a pile, I like to have them in a cup. Then we have our Japanese dead piles, which are the green number 2s. These are for the Japanese fighter squadrons groups. These are the squadrons you will attach for upcoming groups and during their manufacturing phase. Here we have the coming markers, both ours and the Japanese. You can see their number 2, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 11. Those numbers in the right down corner is the turn when they will enter the game. So I've just lined them up also in chronological order, just to have it nice and easy. And then we have our Japan industry damage chart and our research box. And these are essential to the game. Okay, so we're going to have a closer look at this one a bit later on. But start this the Japanese industry damage box by having the air, oil, infrastructure all pointing at 0. Then we have our research box. And they're all going to be pointing at the top number. So training should be pointing at 1. The recon should be pointing at the top 2, as well as the incendiary. Your research per turn is going to start at 1. And then we have our atom bomb is going to start on 4. This research per turn is going to increase until we have 10 research points for every turn. The way to get more research points every turn is by finishing these research. So finishing training, recon, and incendiary is going to give us 3 additional research points per turn. And then for every destroyed major city, we will get 1 additional research point per turn, giving us a maximum amount of 10 per turn, meaning we can finally research the atom bomb here. The first one gives us 2 bombs and the 393rd Squadron, and the second one gives us 2 bombs per turn, so that's a really good one, and it costs 10 research points each turn. You also have to spend research points if you have to take back destroyed groups. And remember, guys, the groups are these guys. These are a group, and this one to the right is the squadron. So the squadrons, you want to use those to absorb damage, because if these guys, the groups, goes to the research box, you have to spend research points to bring them back to the game. And those research points are really valuable because you want to get the A-bomb as fast as you can to win this game. Okay, so that about almost takes care about setup. Let's go back to the main map. Okay, so I mentioned we have some research bomb counters here. I don't know what's happening with my English pronunciation. Research is hard. It's a lot of sh sounds in that one. Anyway, you'll take these, put them with the white backside up, and then just shuffle them until you don't know which one is which. And once you have done that, you're going to randomly place them out in your major cities. And you're going to roll a dice to see where to place them out. You will either place them out at air production, oil production, and infrastructure, never at housing. You will roll the d6. On a 1 to 2, it's going to be air production, 3 to 4, oil production, 5 to 6, infrastructure. So let's get rolling. I have a dice tower here. So this is for the first one. We roll a 4, so that's going to end up on the oil production. And just put them left on to the marker. Next one goes to infrastructure. And air production. That's going to be a hard one to get. It's going to take 9 hits. Yokohama also goes to air production. Kawasaki also goes to air production. And Tokyo goes to oil production. So a lot of them at air productions. So the way this is going to work, we're going to go through that when we start playing. But basically, if you finish off this, you're going to get to take this research counter. And it can be, as we can see here, it can be a bomb training +1, recon +1. So it's going to help our research. But there are also 2 bomb duds, which are not going to help us. So the first thing we are going to want to do is target these specific, for example, the infrastructure of Osaka. But later, more about that as we get more into the game. We have one more thing to do before we can start playing. And that thing is placing out our Japanese starting forces. So the first thing you're going to do is take the combat values. You can see that these are the combat values, the big white numbers. So this has a combat value of 2, and this has a combat value of 4. So you're going to take a 4 and a 2 and put those in each of the tracks. We have track number 1 all the way to track number 5. So a 4 and a 2 in each track, and you can put them anywhere in the track. Just pretend there's some kind of airbase or airfield over there. And then we have a few more, right? So you will put them strongest to weakest from left to right and roll on the new group placement chart to see where you're going to put those troops. So let's start by rolling for the first one, and we roll green 4, red 5. We check our new group placement table here. Green 4, red 5, that's track number 3. Okay, so this one goes to track number 3. And then we do the same for the next guy, and we roll 6, 6. So green, let's see if I can focus here. Green 6, red 6, that's track number 5. And then we have 2 more units. We roll 6, 2. So green 6, red 2, that's track number 5 again. So a lot of build up in track number 5. And we roll for the last one, we roll 5, 1. So green 5, red 1, that's track number 3. So last one goes to track number 3. So we can see a lot of enemy units here in track number 3 and track number 5. And then we have this AA counter, which says AA plus 2. And this is going to move every turn. And basically what that symbolizes is just increased AA activity. And we're going to go ahead and roll just like we do with the new enemy troops. And we roll 6, 3. So green 6, red 3, that's track number 5. We're going to go ahead and put this AA token in track number 5, and then for every turn that AA token is going to move. And that, my friends, is the end of the setup. That means we can finally start playing. Okay, so we are in the first turn, September 1944, and these are our starting groups. We start on phase 4, which is mission construction. This is where we decide which missions we are going to carry out. We don't have to carry out any missions, or we can carry out with every group that we have, but each group can only carry out a mission once, so they can't be used several times. And you have to decide all of them before you move on to phase 5, which is executing the missions. So like I told you guys, we want to get these research bomb counters. And the easy ways to get those is doing high altitude precision bombing against that specific production. And we're going to see, so oil we only need 3 hits here in Kobe. In Osaka also 3 hits. And we only need 2 hits for Yokohama, so that's an easy one. And 4 hits for Kawasaki and 10 hits for Tokyo. So this one with 2 hits, let's see, it's Yokohama. Yokohama is in track number 2. That seems good because we only have these 2 guys there. We do have the extra AA, but that's not too... doesn't feel like something we can't handle. So I'm going to go ahead and launch 2 groups in high altitude precision bombing. I am going to use one of these untrained markers to remember that I haven't researched training yet, so they will get some negative modifier on if they end up in combat against interceptors. They're going to go ahead and engage Yokohama. The rules state you should put that counter on top of the mission, but I'm just going to put it next to them to makes more sense to me. And then let's see, we had some place with, let's see, Osaka, Yokohama. Okay, I think Osaka, where is Osaka? Okay, I am going to go ahead and go to Osaka as well. And also high altitude precision bombing. And what I'm actually going to do here is I have 2 groups in each. Those are going to Osaka. And I'm going to use the 3rd or the 5th, the last group in track number 2, since they have more AA. This track has a bigger risk of getting casualties. And again, I'm putting one of those untrained markers there to remember that these guys are untrained. So that's the end of phase 4, which is again mission construction. During phase 4, you will do bombing by the Navy, but that doesn't start until late war in turn 11. Then we go to phase 5, which is execute missions. So our first mission is these guys going against Osaka. And they are doing high altitude precision bombing. So let's just quickly discuss the difference between low altitude area bombing, high altitude precision bombing. Basically, I'm gonna simplify it. Low altitude area bombing will do more damage, but kind of random damage. Like, it could happen to the oil infrastructure and housing, or just air production and housing, and so on. So it's is random, but it does many more points of damage. It is also more dangerous because the interceptors will have a higher chance of intercepting you, and they will also be stronger. In high altitude precision bombing, the damage is less. You can only get one hit for every group, so in this specific battle I can only get 2 hits. So it's much more precise, but it's much less damage. Also, it's less dangerous because doing high altitude precision bombing, there is just about a 33% chance that the interceptors are going to try to intercept you, and if they intercept you, they will only do half. They will only have half their strength compared to when engaging you during a low altitude area bombing. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, don't worry guys, just keep watching my playthrough, you are gonna get it. If you have any questions at all, just go ahead and ask me in the comments and I will do my best to clarify anything that you might wonder about. Okay, so I have 2 B-29 groups here. They are untrained and they are gonna go ahead and try to do a high altitude precision bombing on Osaka. So what do we do now? Well, we will roll to see if the Japanese will intercept. And looking at the interception chart here, we can see that in a high altitude precision bombing, they will only intercept me on a roll of 5 to 6. On a roll of 5, half of them will intercept, on a roll of 6, all of them. While doing low altitude area bombing, the only time they're not going to intercept is on a roll of 1. On a roll of 2 to 3, half of them will intercept. On a roll of 4 to 6, all of them will intercept. So you can see that doing high altitude precision bombing is much more safe. So basically we will roll now, and we want a 1 to 4. We don't want a 5 or a 6, but we really don't want a 6. I'm going to re-roll that. So we roll a 3, so that means they don't intercept us. Remember, on a roll of 1 to 4, there is no interception. So that means my guys are unchallenged. And again, I have 2 groups. So I can now, because it's precision bombing, I can do 2 damage to air production, oil, or infrastructure. You can never do housing damage while doing precision bombing. Housing damage can only be done by low altitude, and there's still only about a 66% chance that you're actually gonna hit housing. So that's how it works. Anyway, this one was there, right? Man, I think I messed up. Yeah, I think this was at the infrastructure. Okay, so I am gonna steal one of these guys and just say that I had 3 groups here. So 3 groups, that means 3 points of damage. Again, I can choose between air production, oil production, and infrastructure. I have this, I want this research counter. So I will choose to do 3 damage to infrastructure. 1, 2, and 3. So infrastructure is now at maximum damage, and that means I gain the research counter that was here. And it's a bomb dud. So that's one of the ones I don't want, because that doesn't do anything to help me out. I'm gonna put that here. That way I can see which counters are left. Okay guys, so these guys go back to base. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put them out individually. There we go. And then we have Osaka, which goes back. Okay, time for the Yokohama mission. Again, we're gonna go ahead and start by rolling for enemy interception to see if these guys are gonna try to intercept. And a roll of 1. Remember, on a roll of 1 to 4 on a high precision bombing, there will be no no combat, no interception. And also, before I forget, because I did mess up here with one of these guys, I forgot about AA. Okay, so of course we have to do AA. So these guys were attacking Osaka, and the track AA is 5. Osaka has AA value 3, so the total AA is going to be 8. So we're going to go ahead and roll the red dice for the Japanese damage. They roll a 2. we go to combat results table, and you remember they had a 5 plus 3, so the AA value is 8. It doesn't reach 10, so we will use this column. Then they rolled a 2, so we go down to 2. And that means the left number is units damaged, and the number to the right is units destroyed. So basically 0 units damaged, but 1 unit destroyed. So actually one of their some of their AA hits one of my units and it's destroyed. And I will take the squadron. You will always take squadrons first, and then you're gonna go ahead and put that in the dead pile. Okay, but they still hit. The groups, for each group you will get 1 hit of damage, so it's still okay. Okay, and we go to the next one, and again they didn't intercept. Sorry about the confusion. We are bombing Yokohama. We have an AA value of 5. Then we have a +2 because of this support, so we're up to 7. And then Yokohama has an AA value of 3. So that's a total of 10 in AA value. Whoops, gonna re-roll that. And a roll 6. So that's bad news for me. Let's see. So we have combat results here, AA value of 10. They roll a 6. That's really bad. That's something we really don't want, because that means 1 damaged, 2 destroyed. And that means we're going to have to spend research this turn on bringing back groups, because 1 damaged, 2 destroyed. So these destroyed ones are going to go ahead and go here. And this guy is going to go to our research box over here. I'm going to have to spend research points to get him back. And that means we only have 1 guy bombing Kawasaki. So Kawasaki, or sorry, Yokohama. Man, Yokohama. So Yokohama only takes 1 point of damage, and I choose air production. And he goes back to base, and Yokohama goes back here. So that's the end of the execute mission phase. We go to phase number 6, which is score campaigns, but we have no active campaigns, so we go to 7. Tally air, oil, infrastructure tracks. So the only thing we have hit so far is air, and we have hit that for 1... Well, actually, we actually hit infra, but we have hit air for 1. So on this one, we bring air down to -1. Infrastructure, we hit that for 3, so we go down to -3. And the way that works, you actually can't see that. I'm going to bring that out to you. And the way this works is, for hitting these different parts, you will get different benefits. By hitting the infrastructure, the enemy is going to have a harder time repairing, so now they're going to have a -1 to their major city repair rolls. Hitting the oil is going to make less of the enemy being able to intercept you, all the way down to -4. So that's 4 less squadrons and or groups. Air production is going to limit their production of new squadrons and groups from the dead pile, all the way to 1. So we have 6 as a standard, but all the way to 1. And that's going to be their production level. We're going to roll on a table, but you're going to see how that works in a bit. So I'm putting this back here. So first turn definitely didn't go as planned, but there is still a chance I can get things back in order. We go to Imperial Japanese Army manufacturing squadrons. Too many complicated words for me. Okay, so we could see here that the air production, we've only done 1 damage, so their air production level is still 6. Let's see if I can get that closer to you. So the air production is 6. It can go all the way down to 1. And then we have on our chart here, our manufacturing. So air production level 6, we would roll a dice. You can see that if the air production would have been, for example, 3, there would be a big chance they will only get 1. But now it's a big chance they're going to get 6 instead. So let's roll a dice. or a die, and they roll 3. So the current air production is 6, and on a roll of 3 that means they will get 5 new squadrons. So we take their dead pile and we take 5 squadrons, and the way this works, you attach them to squadrons already on the board, or sorry, to groups already on the board, and you will start by the priority Japanese group, and the priority Japanese group is the one with the fewest amount of squadrons. Obviously there is a tie, and if there is a tie, it's the one with the strongest combat values. So it's all these 4s. And then there is a tie again, and then you will just put it on the strongest one with the least amount of squadrons in the lowest number track. So in Tokyo we have track number 1. The first squadron is going to this guy. The second squadron will go to the one in track number 2, and so on. So that takes care of the production. We'll go to step number 9, which is research. I have currently one, let's see if I can maybe bring this over to you for you to see it better. So I have currently, let's see if I can, maybe these guys can go back over here. So I have currently one research point per turn, and to bring back B-29s from the research box you have to pay 1 research point. You can maximum take back 2 for every turn, and you have to do it. You can't, if you have B-29s here and research points available, you can't decide, nah, I'm gonna let him stay there, I'm gonna research training. So that's a bad thing. So I have only 1 research point, and that's gonna go into bringing this B-29 back. That means I can't, like I want to, do my training here for my troops. So that's bad. But that's what happens sometimes. And we go to bombing repair. And first of all, we have 4 bombing repair things here. And the first one is bombing campaign repair. We don't have any campaign yet, so we will ignore that. Minor city restoration. Minor cities haven't come into play yet. Major city restoration, and that's when you have destroyed all of the 6 major cities. Of course, that hasn't come into play yet either, but the last one is major city repair, and that's what we're gonna do. And that works similar to the air production. So we have here on our research and Japanese industry damage, we have our infrastructure repair. We have done 3 damage, so it's going to be a -1 to the roll. And then we have the chart here, and the chart is for early, mid, and late war. And that's going to tell us how much repair. So we roll a 5. The 5 turns into a 4 because we have a -1 here due to our infrastructure damage. So the 4 in early war means 3 repairs. Okay, so we are going to repair 3 points of damage to these major cities. And the first repair will always be to any point which is below minimum. So this one is going up, and that's 1 out of 3 points. And then once that has reached the minimum, you will put your remaining repair points on the city with most amount of damage points to it. So let's see. This city has 2 damage. Osaka has 2 damage points to it. And let's see, then we have Yokohama, 1 damage point. So it's going to be Osaka for 1 more point. Then it's a tie between these. Osaka and Yokohama both have 1 point of them. So you get to choose. I choose Osaka because I still want to bomb Yokohama air production here to get that research counter. And that, my friends, is the end of the first turn. And that leads us to the second turn, October 1944. And this is going to be a little bit different because now we're going to do things from phase number 1 instead of from phase number 4. So the first thing you're going to do is move the AA. You roll on the new group placement table. We roll 5-1. 5-1 is going to be track number 3. once you have done that, you're going to go to track reinforce. If any track has more than 3 more groups than any other track, you are going to do something called reinforce. So for example, if track number 4 here only had 1 group and track number 3 had 3 groups, we would take the strongest counter from here and move that to track number 4. We don't have that scenario now, but we're gonna have that scenario in the future, so don't worry, you're gonna get to see a real example. Once you've done that, you're gonna consult the calendar to see if there are any new groups, and we can see here that there are no new groups in turn number 2 for the Japanese. We go to phase number 2, which is the US new groups and replacement for manufactured squadrons. So first of all, we have a new group. Again, you can see which turn they are going to go ahead and enter the game. This one will enter the game in turn number 2. Your groups are going to come with an attached squadron. We can see in the calendar here that our manufacturing, can you see over here? Yes, you can. Here you see manufacturing. There's a number under it, and here there is, you can't see it, but it's a number 1. And that means we will manufacture 1 squadron for each turn. Also, if we had units here, we would return those to base. You would get half of them rounded down. From turn 9 and forward, you will get all of them because you have captured Iwo Jima. So this one we are free to attach to any group that we wish. I choose to attach it to that group. Okay, so we go to add remove bombing campaigns. We have no campaigns. We go to mission construction. Let's see, I definitely want to go back to Yokohama. And see, I'm gonna put these guys. We have again that increased AA, so I'm gonna play it safe this time. I don't want to lose more of my groups, so I am going to play it chicken. I'm going to send all of these guys against, let's see, Yokohama. And Yokohama we have over here. Yeah, okay, so it's not the AA1. So perhaps, nah, I'm going to send them against, okay, yeah, we have Kawasaki as well. Let's see. Okay, so I'm sending 1 group against Kawasaki. And then the other group against Yokohama. Whoa. Kawasaki and Yokohama. And I'm going to go ahead and place these just as a reminder that my guys are untrained, so if they end up in combat against those interceptors, they will have a negative modifier. Okay, so we go to execute mission. So let's hope they don't intercept. First group against Yokohama. And we roll a 1, so we get no interception. The AA is 5 plus 3. The track AA is 5. The target AA is 3, so we have an AA value of 8. We roll a 2, and we consult the combat result. So it's going to be this column, and I roll 2. So that's 0 damaged, 1 destroyed. So 1 destroyed, we take a squadron and put it in the dead pile. But that means we have successfully bombed Yokohama, and we have two groups. We target the air production, and the next one, we have 1 hit to air production. The next one, let's take infrastructure. And oh, again, it's a bomb dud. There is 2 bomb duds totally, and we have gotten them both. So there is something when I record my sessions, I always lose. So I have a bad feeling already about this session. So these guys go back to base. And we have our second mission here. Again, we roll for interception. We hope for a low roll. Yes, again we get a low roll. AA is 5 plus 3, so AA value of 8. Oh, gonna re-roll that one. And a roll 1, I can tell you right now that that's gonna be 0 damage, 0 destroyed. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, so we can do 4 damage to Kawasaki. And of course we do that to the air production, and we gain our first research counter. So this is bomb training +1. That's very nice. That is the one I was hoping for. So we take our research box here. Let's see, I'm a little bit afraid to mess these up. So this is our research box and our training. Bam, we have done our first training. We only need one more to be done with the research of training. And when we are done with that, we're gonna get 1 additional research points every turn. So I will carefully put that back, not to mess it up. And these guys are returning to base. Kawasaki is put back. And let's see. Okay, so that's the end of execute missions. We go to score campaign. We have no active campaigns. Tally air, oil, infrastructure damage. So air has, let's see, 2, 6, a total of 6 damage. So again, I'm gonna put these here. Man, I wish there was room for this one so you could see it better. But, well, we put air production damage to a 6. So the air production level is now down to 5. Oil is without damage. Infrastructure is at 1 damage now. Okay. So we go to phase 8, which is manufacturing. So again, their manufacturing production level now is 5. So we go to our chart and we see here 5, and we will roll on this column. And they roll a 2, so that means they will produce 3 planes for this turn. So we take from our dead pile 3 squadrons and attach them to the counter or the group with the highest combat value in the lowest, with no squadrons, in the lowest track number. Now we have equipped all the 4 combat valued groups, so now we will equip them with the 2 combat value. And again, we start with the ones in the lowest track numbers. It's going to be this guy. And now we go to research. So remember, we did already the training research, the first step. And now we're going to do the last step. And that is pointing now to done. And we will get +1 research for every turn. So we go now from 1 research per turn to 2 research points per turn. So next round we can start to research reconnaissance or incendiaries. Very cool. Bombing repair. So we will roll on the major city repair chart. And we roll a 1. We have only 1 damage to infrastructure, so it's not going to modify that roll. In early, a roll of 1 is going to be 2 repairs. So you remember the way it works. Let's see if we got someone that is destroyed. Yes, we do over here. And also over here. So you can choose which one you want to do, but it's not going to matter because it's going to be both of them. Both of them are brought to minimum, and that's the 2 repair points. And that, my friends, is the end of turn number 2. We go to turn number 3 now, which is November 1944. So as always, you are going to go ahead and roll to see where to place the AA. And we roll 6, 6. That is going to be track number 5. Let's see, track reinforce. Do we have more than 3? Nope, we don't have more than 3 than any tracks, for example 1 and 4. So we don't have to deal with that, but we have new groups. Let's consult the calendar. Okay, the Imperial Japanese Army is going to get 1 new group. And again, we can see here on which turn it's going to enter. So turn number 3. This is going to go with a squadron attached to it. Let's roll on the new group placement. 5-2. 5-2 is going to be track number 4. So it's going to go here. Let's see, then we go to our new groups. We have no new groups for this turn, but we have some production. And production has now increased to 2 squadrons. So we have 2 new squadrons. I'm just gonna go ahead and attach these to 2 of my groups, which has no squadrons. We have no units here in return to base. Those are damaged squadrons. And we have no more groups coming. So we go to add remove bombing campaigns. There are no bombing campaigns. Let's construct our mission. Okay, so where do we want to head now? I want to head to Kobe, without no doubt. I want to hit their oil production here. That's going to be the easiest one to do. And I think actually that's going to be the only one I want to do this turn, because I did lose quite a lot there. I didn't have my squadrons and so on. Or I lost 1 group, so I lost research. So I want to play it carefully. I think it might be bad, but I gotta be careful. So I will take Kobe. And I'm sure someone is laughing at my pronunciation. Remember these counters we had, the untrained counters, which would be used in case they intercepted us for our returning fire. We're going to put that aside because we're trained now. We have completed our training research, so we're not going to have to deal with that. But we still haven't been intercepted, so let's see if we're going to be intercepted this time. I'm going to roll d6 to see if they intercept us. And they roll a 3, so they are not able to intercept. We have an AA value of 5 plus 3, so that's AA value of 8. They roll a 2. And we check the column here. 0 damaged, 1 destroyed. So we just take one of our squadrons and put it in the dead pile. Kobe is successfully damaged by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 groups, so 6 points of damage. Let's see, Kobe. So 1, 2, 3 to the air production, and we get the bomb recon. So reconnaissance is upgraded, and we put that over here. We take out our research box, and reconnaissance is upgraded for free. We don't have to pay those 2 points for that. That's very good. Very good. And then we have 3 more points to do damage to Kobe, and we're gonna do that to, let's see, air production, I guess, or infrastructure. Yeah, I want to hit that infrastructure. So we do that damage to infrastructure, and we return to base. We lost a squadron, but at least we didn't lose any groups, so I'm satisfied. We go to phase number 6, but there is no campaigns. Tally air, oil, infrastructure. Let's see, air we have 4 damage to air. So we change it. It was at -6. We changed it to -4. And then we have oil production 3, which put oil at -3. Then we have infrastructure 3, 4. So put that as -4. All right. Manufacturing. So their air manufacture now is 5. So we roll a dice, and they roll 2. On their air production level 5, a 2 is going to give them 3 new squadrons. So you know the deal with the squadrons. Let's see. It's going to be these guys in the lower track numbers. And then we go to research. And guess what, guys? We have 2 research points now per turn because we have finished our training, and we're going to put that on the last one needed for reconnaissance. So reconnaissance is done now, and that means our low altitude bombing is going to be more dangerous. Just to show you how that works is you're going to roll on this column if you haven't reconnaissance researched, but now we have it researched, So we can do this one. So basically it's gonna make on a roll of 1 to 4 is gonna do damage to 3 of these different industrial tracks, and on a roll of 5 to 6 it's gonna be like the old one, but on a roll of 1 to 4 we're gonna have 1 additional damage. So that's actually a very good research once you start using the low altitude bombings. And since reconnaissance now is fully researched, that also means that we are going now to 3 research points per turn. And I'm actually just going to go ahead and, since these are done, I'm just going to go ahead and remove them, because they're taking up some valuable spot here on this research box. So we have still incendiaries to research and atom bomb, but we're done with training and reconnaissance. Okay, so we go to bombing repair, and it's going to be the major city repair. So we roll. Let's see, we have a -4 to infrastructure, so they're going to have a -1 to their roll. They roll a 6, so that's going to be a 5. Early war, a 5 means 4 repair points. So let's see, 4 repair points, 3 repair points. Okay, so now it's going to repair the one with the most damage. This one has 5. This one has 2, 3. Okay, so it's going to be this one. How many points of damage did I say? 4. And it's always going to be the one furthest to the left first. So that's 1. Now we have 2 points left of damage to repair. So now that's at 4. And let's see. There was one more at 4, right? That's at 3 points of damage. That's at 2 points of damage. Okay, so it's going to be one more repair there. And now it's 1 point remaining, and that's going to be going here. So we're done with repair, and that means we're done with the turn. We are now in the last turn of this video, and the last turn of early war in December 1944. And as usual, we start by placing out the AA. We roll 3-1. A 3-1 is going to turn that in track number 2. I think it was already a track number 2. Consult our calendar for new groups. There are no new groups. Track reinforce. Let's see. Nope. There is not 3 more groups than any other track. So we go to next phase, which is the US. Let's see, new groups. We have a lot of new groups coming. We have 4 new B-29s coming in this turn. Turn number 4, which again can be seen in this corner. And as usual, we will take our dead pile and attach 1 squadron to each group. And let's check manufacturing. We have a manufacturing of 2. So we are getting 2 additional squadrons. And we're going to go ahead and attach those to these guys here. Okay, so we go to phase 3, add remove bombing campaigns. And let's check the calendar. Look at that, guys. We have our first bombing campaign, which is mine laying. So we take our bombing campaign marker and we put it on the start of our bombing campaign. So this is the start. And the way this works is for every hit, it will go 1 to the left, and for every one that's not hit, it's going to go 1 to the right. If it goes all the way to the right, I'm defeated. So we don't want it over here, because that means we lost. So bombing campaign, we take the marker, put it on the 0, and then we take our targets. So we have our first one, our second one, a third one, 4th and a 5th. So the way you target these guys are different. The mine laying are targeted through high altitude precision bombing, but other ones, like for example kamikaze bases, are targeted through low altitude area bombings, which can be seen on the map. I'm not sure if you can see that there. Let me just correct the camera. Okay, so we go to mission construction. Okay, so now we're gonna have to decide where we want to bomb next, and I definitely want to bomb these areas. Nagoya, we need 9 hits. Tokyo, we need 10 hits to claim those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I barely have enough. I barely have enough of these to actually do that damage needed, and also hit my mission targets. So let's see. I am gonna go ahead and go to Nagoya, which is here, and I'm sending, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups. I'm sending 6 groups to Nagoya through high altitude bombing, and then I'm sending 2 groups to bomb the mine layers, or to lay the mines here in that track, and I'm sending 2 other groups in, let's see, track number 1, high altitude, to target these. So let's start with track number 1. We are now going to phase 5, which is execute mission. As always, we roll to see if the Japanese will intercept, and they roll, look at that, they roll a 6. So that means all of them are gonna intercept. We are a little bit lucky here because we're targeting mine, or we're doing a mine laying mission here, and we can see in the box here no AA. So you will never get the AA from targeting the mines. So that's very cool. You're not going to get to track AA either. So all we're going to have to deal with now is these guys. So we calculate their total combat value: 4, 6, 8, 10. So they have a combat value of 10. Since we're doing high altitude bombing, we're going to half that. So the half of 10 is 5. So they have a combat value of 5. I have a combat value of 5, 10. So I also have a combat value of 5. Since my total combat value is 10, again, you half it down when doing high altitude precision bombing, and that turns into a 5. So both of us have a combat value of 5. So let's roll our combat dice. Combat always happens simultaneously. So we both roll 2. Oh, you can't actually see the dice tower. I'm gonna have to adjust that. So we both roll 2 with our same combat value. Let's see if we actually do something. Nope, we don't. Let's look here. Combat value of 5 is gonna be this column. It doesn't go all the way to 7. And we roll 2, so that's just a 0. So I don't hit them, and they don't hit me. So that means, whoops, that means these guys fly back. My guys go back to base, and I've successfully bombed the mines, or done that mission. And I randomly draw a bombed counter from the cup, and it's number 2. And wider number you're gonna see during the repair. Okay, so let's go to track number 3. Let's roll for interception against Nagoya. And we roll a 6 again, so this time it's gonna hurt. So we have, these guys are moving into intercept. So we have a combat, or AA, value now of 4, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 21, 23, 25, 27. 27 in combat value, and we half that, so that's going to turn into 13 and a half. So it turns into a 13. Let's see my combat value here. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So I have a combat value of 15. They have a combat value of 13. So again, roll simultaneously. And I do a little bit better than they do. So they do, let's see, 13. They roll 2. So 1 damaged, 1 destroy. I roll 3, so I do also 1 damage, 1 destroyed. However, the Japanese forces will never be damaged. 1 is destroyed, you will take a squadron from the weakest group and put that in their dead pile. 1 of my units are damaged, 1 is destroyed. The damaged one goes to the return to base box here on the map, and the destroyed one goes into the dead pile. The Japanese return, and I'm now free to do my damage to Nagoya. Let's see how many groups I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 groups, so I can do 6 damage to Nagoya. I will do all of that to air production. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And my guys return to base. Whoops. And then we have our next mission here. Nagoya counter goes back. Our bomb laying here in track number 3. Let's roll for Interception, and let's hope for a roll of 1 to 4. Unfortunately, we get a roll of 6. So it's high altitude bombing, and we don't have any AA because it's mine laying. We're out here in the ocean. So let's calculate. We have 4, 6, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 down. That's going to be a combat value of 9. And we have a combat value of 10, so that turns into a 5. Remember, we half it during high altitude precision bombing. Let's roll. They have a value of 9. I have a value of 5. So they roll 6. So they are going to do, let's see, we're going to use this column. 1 damaged, 1 destroyed. And we take our squadrons, put 1 in the damaged box, 1 in the dead pile. And we had a combat value of 5, so we're going to have to use this, this column. We rolled a 4, so that means no damage, 1 destroyed. So we do destroy 1 of their squadrons, and we take the squadrons from the weakest counter. And these guys go back to base, and so do my guys. So, successfully bombed that one. Again, we take a random bombed counter from our cup. And that, my friends, is the end of this mission phase. We go to score campaigns now. And now this is where we're going to say, okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 target counters. 2 are bombed, and 1, 2, 3 are unbombed. So let's look at how that works. Okay, so here we have our, let's see if I can focus. So here we have our bombing campaign marker. 2 are bombed, so we go 2 times to the left. It can never go more than all the way to the left. Then we will move it, then we will move it right once for every unbombed target. So we have 3 unbombed targets, so 1, 2, 3. So now it's going to start there next turn. Remember, if it goes all the way to the 5, you have been defeated, or on the 3 on the kamikaze bases, and so on. So we're still pretty safe. I'm not too worried about that. A common mistake which I did my first games was focusing too much on these areas. Okay, so we go to tally air oil infrastructure tracks. So air production, let's bring this out here on the main map. Air production, we have 6, 7, 8, 9. Oil, we have no oil damage, so it goes back to 0. Then we have infrastructure, 3, 4. One thing you might have noted on the oil here is that it was actually, I think it was at -4 or -3. And looking at that chart, we can see I missed this. So the way this works is, for every minus here, all the way to -4, you will exclude the weakest squadron or group from the Interceptors. So that it would not have made a difference, I can tell you, because 2 less in combat value, it would have been the same. They would have damaged the same amount of units. So it's all good. However, that's something to keep in mind. Okay, so where were I at? Infrastructure, man. This is, let's see, 9 there, and 2 the infrastructure, 3, 4. Okay, that is the last time I'm going to show. If I show you this again, I'm just going to show it with my camera. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep messing things up. All right, so we go to step number 8, which is manufacturing. They have a manufacturing level now of 4. So we roll their dice. They roll a 1 and a manufacturing level of 4. A roll of 1 will be only 1 reinforcement. So that's good for me. Only 1. And that's going to go to this counter over here. And we go to research. Whoops, sorry for not focusing. And we go to research. So you can see here on the research window or the research box that training has been completed. Reconnaissance has been completed. We have 3 research points per turn, but we don't have any B-29s to return. The only thing we can afford is researching incendiaries. So the incendiaries are being researched now to their 2nd step, and they have a total of 3 steps. So we have 1 more research point to spend, but there's nothing to spend it on, so that research point is lost. Let's go back to the main map. So we go to phase 10, which is bombing repair. Bombing campaign repair. So bombing campaign repair is done by 2d6. You will basically roll them and it will repair any counter with the same number on it. So now it will repair 4s and 2s. Then we have a 2 here, so that goes back in the cup. That's been repaired. This one is not repaired. And we go into the last one, which is major city repair. And we can see here our infrastructure damage is 4. So there's going to be a -1 die roll modifier to the major city repair chart. So we roll our red die and we roll a 5. So that turns into a 4. We can see early war, a roll of 4 is going to be 3 repair points. So let's go to our major city tracks. So we have 4 repairs to do now. Let's see, we don't have anyone which is under minimum. So that means we're going to repair the most damaged city, and it's going to be this one with 6 repair points. So let's see. We need to repair 3 points. I rolled a 5, so I told you wrong before. Oh man, I'm going to have to put this in the window way. Okay, so we rolled 5, but it was a -1, so that's a 4. So early war, that's going to be 3 repair points. So they're going to get to repair 3 points of damage. Air turns into a 5. There's 2 points left. Yeah, it's going to repair it all the way to 3. And that is not good. This is the last turn of, or the last phase of this, or the last turn of early war. And there is not a lot of damage to those cities. So this is definitely a big problem. So we have ended phase 10, major city repair. And that means we have finished turn 4. We go now to night number 45, January, and that means we're also going to mid-war. And again, like I said, I'm actually becoming quite concerned because there's not a lot of damage. I have done some good research, but still doesn't feel like enough. So I think I'm gonna have to be... The problem is sometimes you feel you have to be more aggressive, and then you be more aggressive and you're just gonna take a lot of casualties. So I'll see if I can get my research perhaps going a little bit better. Once I get incendiaries, it's going to get better because I can stop them or prevent them from repairing the things which get damaged all the way to the left here. Anyway, guys, this is 20th Air Force, mid-war, or sorry, early war, turn 1 to 4. Stay tuned. Next video is going to be the mid-war, which will be turn 5 to 10. Hopefully, I'm going to be able to do a little bit better damage to the Imperial Japanese forces then. So stay tuned to the channel. Thank you, as always, for watching. See you next time.